In many other things Iluvatar spoke to the Ainur at that time, because of their memory of his words and the knowledge that each has of the music which he himself made. The Ainur know much of what was, and is to come, and few things are unseen by them. Yet some things there are that they cannot see, neither alone nor taking counsel together, as they shall hear, Elfwine. For to none but himself has Iluvatar revealed all that he has in store, and in every age there come forth things that are new and have no foretelling, for they do not spring from the past. And so it was that, as this vision of the world was played before them, the Ainur saw that it contained things which they had not thought. And they saw with amazement the coming of the children of Iluvatar, and the habitation that was prepared for them. And they perceived that they themselves, in the labor of their music, had been busy with the preparation of this dwelling, and yet knew not that it had any purpose beyond its own beauty. For the children of Iluvatar were conceived by him alone, and they came with the third theme, and were not in the theme which Iluvatar propounded at the beginning, and none of the Ainur had part in their making. Therefore, when they beheld them, the more did they love them, being things other than themselves, strange and free, wherein they saw the mind of Iluvatar reflected anew, and learned a little more of his wisdom, which otherwise had been hidden from the holy ones. Now the children of Iluvatar are elves and men, the firstborn and the followers, and amid all the splendors of the world, its vast halls and spaces, and its wheeling fires, Iluvatar chose a place for their habitation in the deeps of time, and in the midst of the innumerable stars. And this habitation might seem a little thing to those who consider only the majesty of the Ainur, and not their terrible sharpness, as who should take the whole field of the sun as the foundation of a pillar, and so raise it until the cone of its summit were more bitter than a needle, or who consider only the immeasurable vastness of the world, which still the Ainur are shaping, and not the minute precisions to which they shape all things therein. But thou must understand, Elfwine, that when the Ainur had beheld this habitation in a vision, and had seen the children of Iluvatar rise therein, then many of the most mighty of the holy ones bent all their thought and desire toward that place. And of these Melkor was the chief, even as he was in the beginning the greatest of the Ainur who took part in the music. And he feigned, even to himself at first, that he desired to go thither and order all things for the good of the children of Iluvatar, controlling the turmoils of the heat and the cold that had come to pass through him. But he desired rather to subdue to his will both elves and men, envying the gifts with which Iluvatar promised to endow them. And he wished to have subjects and servants, and to be called Lord, and to be a master over other wills. But the other Ainur looked upon this habitation in the halls of Aman, which the elves called Arda, the earth, and looking upon the light they were joyful, and their eyes, seeing many colors, were filled with gladness. But because of the roaring of the sea, they felt a great unquiet, and they observed the winds in the air, and the matters whereof the middle earth was made, of iron and stone, and silver and gold, and many substances. But of all these water they most greatly praised. And it is said by the Eldar that in water lives yet the echo of the music of the Ainur. And many of the children of Iluvatar hearken still unsated to the voices of the sea, and yet know not for what they listen. Now to water had that Ainur whom we call Ulmo most turned his thought, and of all most deeply was he instructed by Iluvatar in music. But of the affairs and winds of Manwë most had pondered, who was the noblest of the Ainur, and the fabric of earth had Aule thought, to whom Iluvatar had given skill and knowledge scarce less than Melkor. But the delight and pride of Aule was in the deed of making, and in the thing made, and not in possession, nor in himself. Wherefore he became a maker and a teacher, and none have called him Lord. Now Iluvatar spake to Ulmo and said, Seest thou not here in this little realm, in the deeps of time, and in the midst of the innumerable stars, how Melkor hath made war upon thy province? He hath bethought him of bitter cold immoderate, and yet hath not destroyed the beauty of thy fountains, nor thy clear pools. Behold the snow, and the cunning work of frost. Behold the towers and mansions of ice. Melkor hath devised heats and fire without restraint, and hath not dried up thy desire, nor utterly quelled the music of the sea. Behold rather the height and the glory of the clouds, and the ever-changing mists and vapors, and listen to the fall of rain upon the earth. And in these clouds thou art drawn nearer to Manwë, thy friend, whom thou lovest. Then Ulmo answered, Yea, truly, water is become now fairer than my heart imagined. Neither had my secret thought conceived of the snowflake, nor in all my music was contained the falling of the rain. Lo, I will seek Manwë, that he and I may make melodies forever and ever to thy delight. And Manwë and Ulmo have from the beginning been allied, and in all things have served most faithfully the purpose of Iluvatar. But behold, even as Ulmo spoke, and while the Ainur were yet gazing upon the vision, it was taken away and hidden from their sight. And it seemed to them that in that moment they perceived a new thing, darkness, which they had not known before, except in thought. But they had become enamored of the beauty of the vision, and engrossed in the unfolding of the world which came there to being, and their minds were filled with it. For the history was incomplete, and the circles not full wrought, when the vision was taken away, and there was unrest among them.